you've got to keep your cool. And sometimes in order to do that, you need to duck down by the hot cupboard, and take deep breaths, or just duck behind in the KP area and just take a second, because, sometimes when the pressure is really, really building up and the checks are piling up, and the best thing you think you might do is just keep going. And you have to rebuild momentum and get back to where you were. But sometimes you need to take a step back in order to get there and just regain some sort of calm. I think that's very important. So yeah, almost do the opposite of what you naturally might think you should do, which is speed up. You slow down and then regain some sort of consciousness and then go again.
Yes. There's a quote I love, which I don't adhere to really, but it's slow is smooth is fast.
Yeah.
I think when you slow things down, and then how do you rebuild the, is it once you slow down, like how are you, with all the checks that are coming in, like how's that make it all go Pete Tong, if that makes sense? Do you know what I mean? In terms of not just boshing through them.
Yeah, well, when I say slow down, you do it for a few seconds,
right,
and then you just take a deep breath. But it's really about rhythm, and it's about then catching up. And sometimes you need to have a little pep talk with the team to get them back into the, into focus, and then just catching up. But like I said, whether you're in a good or a bad service, if you or someone else slips up, then you're playing catch up, and that's very difficult. You have to stay on top of things. But it's it's very exciting. It's very fun and tiring.
I want to talk. I read somewhere that you said we have egoless kitchens.
Yeah.
I love that as a concept. How do you? I suppose the first question is like, how do you? Because a lot of people can wear masks in life, like quite literally in terms of how they present themselves. Like, how do you create an environment where ego doesn't exist? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there are lots of kitchens that perhaps do have egos in them, and chefs come in all shapes and sizes, right? But people are aware of those chefs who are boisterous and shouty and perhaps do have egos, and just really, it's not that we're necessarily trying to promote kitchens, egoless kitchens. We are, but at the same time, if a chef comes into the kitchen with an ego, they just don't last long. It's just not the environment that we want. We want to create a kind of a nice, friendly, calm, nurturing environment. Cooking, being a professional chef is, or any front of house, back of house, being in hospitality is a challenging profession. Long hours, it's tiring, it's etc. You need to try and create an environment where people are happy. Otherwise, the turnover is too relentless. It shows in the food that you're producing. It's not conducive to a happy environment. And I'm sure lots of people try and say the same, and I'm sure we haven't always got it right. Probably some ex-employers will be like, well, I didn't like working at Kricket, but it's what we try and do. And so if someone does come in with an ego, they just don't really last that long.
What did you you said there about kind of employees coming and going? I read, what I loved on your website is, I think the guy's name's bear with me, mate.
Monsef?
Will Rogers.
Will Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like joined in 2016. So he's been with you for like a long time.
Yeah.
Started as bar manager, now group beverage manager.
Yep.
What did you get right that's made, the first kind of question, that's made him stay with you for so long? And then when you talked about some people who've come and gone, like, what do you think some of the mistakes you've made, which is, where you said, oh, someone would be sitting listening to this saying, oh, Kricket wasn't the best place to work. I just think it's an interesting dichotomy to explore.
Yeah. I mean, so I think 20% of our workforce has been with us for five or more years.
That's mad.
Whether it's Will, who's head of beverage, or Monsef, who's head of people, Ali, who's head of marketing, our entire head office and most of our head chefs and a lot of our chefs and a lot of people have been with us for a long time. So I think that shows that hopefully they're happy and they're motivated. And I think in keeping those people with you, you need to show them some sort of career progression. That they all started as something, to what they're and where they are now is different to where they started. And I think that's useful with growing a company as well. New opportunities arise for those that have showed loyalty and commitment and if they're capable, they will always get the opportunity ahead of someone fresh coming in. So I think keeping them motivated, career progression is incredibly important. And to those that have come and gone, to be honest, I think our retention rate is pretty good. The type of people that you are having coming to work for you has changed over the last 10 years massively. Since COVID changed the landscape of your workforce in so many respects. So those that haven't lasted, I mean, I think probably a lot of them, hospitality is a you fill a gap quite often. You want to achieve something else, but you want a bit of money, so you go and work a few shifts on the floor or whatever, or you go into a kitchen thinking that's what you want to do, and the reality of kitchen life isn't maybe quite what you wanted it to be. So, lots of people have had lots of different experiences, but I think I'm very proud of the culture that we've created in the company, and it's something that we're constantly working on, and we will keep working on. You can't stay still, and we have an HR department that are doing a fantastic job and are massively responsible for creating that culture. It comes from the top down. And I really hope, we look after people very well, I think.
And then what would you say are some of I think you have to make mistakes, like part of the evolution in terms of this egoless, 20% of your team have been there for longer than 5 years. Like you get to that point through mistakes, because mistakes are great in terms of, learning. Like, what would you say are some of the mistakes you've made to get you to this really strong place in terms of really kind of ironclad culture now?
Mistakes. I mean, you're always making mistakes. No bad thing, right? Like I said, the landscape has changed, and people's attitude towards working has changed quite a lot. So you have to adapt to that. That's not necessarily a mistake. I don't know what specifically what mistakes.
When you say it's changed, like how so? The attitude to work's changed. I mean,
well, like COVID shut people away for a while, and people learned they could work from home, and then a lot of people who returned to their countries, and people who would have been working for you, and I would say the local talent pool shrunk somewhat, but restaurants were still opening, so it became very difficult to hire for a while. Having said that, people became accustomed to sort of working on days that they wanted to work on, whether it was like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
So
working from home,
that's me.
You can't work from home if you're in hospitality, and so. It hasn't been so much of an issue. We just had to adapt, and you're paying people more money now. That's the thing. But I guess one thing that has helped us is we sponsor people from abroad now. So we're bringing over a lot of chefs from India, which is
amazing.
Which for me, I'm incredibly proud of, because they are young and keen and excited and ready for this challenge, and so that's really exciting. But the landscape has changed, and I think recruitment in hospitality has always been challenging. Mm-hmm. It's a fickle industry. And I say that as someone who's been fickle in the past. My attitude towards cooking was you learn as much as you can in one place and then you move on. And that happens to the detriment of the employer sometimes. But I like to think that I encourage my team to hold that same idea, because if I feel like it's time for one of them, particularly the chefs, to go on to a new challenge, then we must encourage that to happen. I think it's very important for personal development and growth.
I want to talk about two chefs, and I may have butchered their names, right? So the pronunciation of it. So Rowley Lee.
Yep.
That's
correct.
Right. Yeah, bang, sweet. That's the tick. And then Vivek Singh. So you went to work for both of them.
Yeah.
I think was it Rowley first.
Yeah, Rowley was before India.
Yeah, before India.
Yeah.
And I think I read somewhere that you said like you didn't. It was an intense, scary environment. You didn't speak like for a year. I read that somewhere. I'd love to know what's the difference. Like, they've both shaped Will, who sat in front of me today. Like, how's their approach to like? Yeah, how's their approach like different, and like how's it shaped you as a chef? Do you know what I mean? I'd love to maybe start with Rowley first.
Rowley's kitchen was an incredibly nice, nurturing kitchen. It wasn't scary, but I thought it was. So I was I guess I was completely inexperienced.
How old are you at this point? Like,
I started fresh out of university, like 21, I think.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So I was this kind of posh kid thrown into this kitchen, and these other guys probably looked at me and thought, "You're not going to last long." So I was scared. Yes. But the environment that I was in was wonderful. It was I was thrown in on the deep end on the vegetable section at Christmas. It was very intense. And for a year I didn't really talk much because I felt like I really had to prove myself to myself, prove I could do it, prove myself to these great chefs around me, and to keep your head down and absorb and learn and work hard. And that's the advice I would give to any young chef starting out: get into the kitchen and do exactly that, and hope you pull through, and learn as much as you can. And I learned a huge amount in that place, and I'm still in touch with a lot of the chefs who taught me, and I'm very grateful for that.
What made you so you finished uni, and then what did you do at uni?
Oh, business management.
Yeah, that's what I did as well. I don't know what I'm doing. No offense, but I don't know what I'm doing.
I didn't do that. I didn't do very well, but I knew I wanted to be a chef.
So you knew that since day dot, and uni was kind of like I have to do it, kind of tick the box.
Yeah, which was I had a great time, and I've got a lot of friends from there, so I wouldn't change anything. But I knew I wanted to be a chef, and perhaps that distracted my kind of
I'm with
drive.
You. And then so how did you get in touch with Rowley? Did you say, look, I've finished uni, this is my thing? My
dad actually met him and said, will you talk to my son? And so I went to meet him, and I didn't go looking for a job. I actually said, look, I'd love to own a restaurant one day. How do I get there? And he said, get in the kitchen. So I was like, okay. And he said, do you want to get in this kitchen? So I said, yeah. And then it was from there, really. And
because there's a common theme, which is really inspiring what I'm picking up from you today, mate, is that you have this ability to turn imposter syndrome into almost like a wave and a thing to propel you. Yeah. Instead of crush you, it's like whether you're going to India to take on the job, whether you're going into the kitchen straight out of uni, whether you're just setting up pot bricks and saying, fuck it, we'll wing it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. What was you said you learned a lot in that kitchen. What were some of the kind of principles you learned under Rowley that you still kind of use on a weekly basis at Kricket?
Well, I mean, obviously there's the technical side of things, the actual cooking that was invaluable. It's classic French, British cooking. And I believe once you get a hang of that skill set, then it gives you the opportunity to explore other cuisines and with that kind of foundation. So that's something that stayed with me. And that's ultimately why I was there. I think in terms of the environment, like I said, it was a busy professional kitchen with some very good cooking going on, and the chefs that I learned from, you know, they had the right attitude, and so I kind of learned from them. And it was, you know, it wasn't like some of these kitchens back in the day, or perhaps ones that still exist somewhere, but you know, they're very strict and very shouty, and you know, some bad things happen in there. It wasn't like that, but there was discipline. There was a system that you needed to adhere to, and you needed to know your place. And I think I did. I'm sure I definitely made mistakes, but at the same time, I knew that I had to prove myself and I had to work my way up. And I think that's perhaps where nowadays people can forget the importance of that. I probably need to be slightly careful about what I say here, but like the welfare of people in kitchens is very important, and I would never deny that. But I think it goes a little far sometimes when people don't understand that structure that they need, that hierarchy that they need to understand to work your way up in a kitchen. And if someone tells you off, then, you know, that's a terrible thing. I don't always think it is. There's ways of doing it, and I believe in the firm but fair approach, and that's what I try and instill within my chefs. But I think you do need a certain amount of structure and discipline in order to understand that you need to work a certain amount if you're going to get anywhere.
And also, I think you need to know, like, when you're speaking to someone in the different ranks, if you've been there yourself, you can have empathy with the way you communicate with that person.
Yeah.
And I think there's I don't know if you ever saw this, but the guy who's now MD of Pret, his name's Pano. He's been there for 23 years. He started off, I think, in the Pret in Heathrow. And he's worked a bit, like, what the value of that, I think, is he knows exactly, when he's speaking to someone on the ground, he's like, yeah, I know exactly what that feels like. That's one part of it. But then the other part is just the graft and the discipline.
Yeah. You need to respect the people that you're working with, and that applies to people above you, and it applies to people below you. And it's very important.